Hi everyone. Just wanted to get us started on week two. We'll just look briefly back at week one. So week one was really kind of a primer or an intro to the class. We looked a little bit at law overall, and some of the kind of a civics lesson of some of the general legal principles. Also dug into a little bit of ethics as well. And you'll find that like one week we'll have law content, one week we'll have ethics content. It'll kind of be broken up like that. But there are times when they kind of come together because they're intertwined, but they're not the same thing. So you'll see where they kind of intertwine a bit. We had our discussion Flipgrids. I didn't hear any reports from anyone that there were issues, so hopefully that went okay. We had our paper that was due yesterday, Sunday, about political malpractice. And hopefully one of the issues that I've seen in this class in the past is that people see malpractice and immediately jump on medical malpractice. And that is not the topic of the paper. So you will, if that's what you wrote your paper on, you may hear from me to put something else together. But medical malpractice is not political malpractice. But there certainly are, and there's a lot of really great examples right now of political malpractice, which is really about where the government is failing people with regard to health and wellness. And the political malpractice is much more broad than that. We're just talking specifically about the health and wellness side, but it could be financial, it could be any type of thing that is political malpractice. So we also had our quiz. So let's hop over here quick. Oops, I went too far. Go over a few of the quiz questions from last week. So first question, blank laws govern relationships between people. So generally there are three main types of law, public law, private law, and administrative law. These are actually statutes or regulations. So those are public law, private law, administrative law. There's also common law, which I think is the next question. So we'll see that in a second. But private laws govern those relationships between people. So private law is if somebody comes onto my land and destroys my back porch, or constantly is bringing their dog onto my land for their dog to go to the bathroom, that would be trespassing. So it is a relationship. Trespassing is the type of law that's a private law because it governs relationships between people, as opposed to what we deal with in healthcare mainly, which are public laws. Public laws govern that relationship between the government and the people. So you'll see laws that govern the Medicare and Medicaid programs. We've seen a ton of different laws and regulations come out related to COVID. Any of those types of laws that are, legislation from Congress. Sorry about that. Another video was just finishing up, so we're going to have a little bouncing C in the corner here for a minute. But so the public law is that relationship between the government and the people. Administrative law are laws that are actually not created through the congressional legislative process. Administrative law are laws that are created in regulations. So an organization, we deal with a massive amount of administrative law in healthcare. CMS, Center for Medicare and Medicaid Services, will put out a proposal or a proposed rule, allow people to comment on it, and then they will put in place a final rule or a regulation, and those regulations govern the industry, could govern payment, could govern access to care, etc. Those are known as administrative law. So three main types of law, but relationships between people, that is private law. Common law principle in which courts apply previous decisions to subsequent cases involving similar facts and questions is known as, the correct answer is stare decisis. So stare decisis, obviously all of these words here on the screen it's Latin, and it actually means, stare decisis means to stand by things decided. So that's what they're doing. The common law, do we have another? Yeah. I'm going to say the next question is about common law too. So for those of you that missed these, you might want to go back and kind of review some of these legal principles because they're really important to the overall class. But so common law, and actually I'll just move forward to this question and then we'll come back and look at that one again. So the body of law consisting of principles derived from judicial decisions is known as common law. So when you have law, public law or private law, that has some kind of a gray area in it where there's room for interpretation. These types of cases go to court and everything, anytime someone breaks the law to a certain level, you don't go to court well, you do go to court if you get a speeding ticket, though, you can, or you can just pay your fine. But you always have the opportunity to have your case heard by a judge. These decisions that judges make, they create a body of law that's known as common law. So it's not something that the Congress, that your senators and your representatives have, written in a bill in, right there in Washington or in Harrisburg, if it's a state of Pennsylvania thing. It is something that is where the judge has taken those laws from federal law, state law, local law, whatever, and then they examine it and they make a decision. So when they make a decision based on their interpretation of the law, those decisions are known as common law. We'll go back to this question now. So a principle within common law where a court will look back at other court decisions or other common law. They'll look back at those decisions and apply it in this case. So let's say, I can't think of anything off the top of my head, but so let's say that a judge a while back said, all cars had to be electric. They felt that there was enough legislation out there to protect the environment that we should do away with internal combustion engines and we should all be using electric cars. So if it gets appealed, goes to the next level, whatever, that judge that's reviewing it now could apply the thoughts of that first judge, and that for him to do that or her to do that would be called stare decisis, meaning they are defaulting to the precedent. What was the precedent in this case? The precedent in that case was that the judge felt that everyone should have electric cars. Of course, that would never happen, but they were applying that precedent. What happens sometimes is there's a common law that's created. Judge says everyone has to have electric cars, then the next higher court looks at it again and says, no, that's ridiculous. We can't have a situation where everyone has electric cars. They're expensive. People can't afford them, etc. So then they kind of wipe out that common law by creating a new common law that says, no, that doesn't apply here. So hopefully they didn't confuse it more than clear it up. But stare decisis is about applying precedent. So, and you'll hear that a lot in the workplace. Like, for example, if I'm Joe's boss, Joe comes to me and says, I really just think I need to take tomorrow off. I'm not feeling like coming to work today. And I say, hey, Joe, you really, we need you here. You need to come to work unless you're sick or have a rational reason as to why you're not coming. It would set precedent for me to just let people take days off for no reason. So that precedent setting is something that we deal with as leaders in the healthcare setting all the time. This is the same type of thing, except in the court system. If a judge makes kind of a wacky decision, it might set precedents for other judges and other cases that are similar down the line, which would be stare decisis. Common law, we already talked about that, and that's all. So let's go back to the classroom quick. We looked at week 1. So week 2, this week we're going to look a little more broadly at things like malpractice and tort. Tort law is a very important law that we deal with in the healthcare system. And we're going to talk a little about tort reform. There's a video here and there's some content as well. We have our flip grid this week. This is really more about personal and professional responsibility. So we'll have our flip grid. We do have a group assignment this week. There are 4 groups. And hopefully if for whatever reason people aren't involved or aren't assigned to a group, let me know. Also, if you have a group and you start getting things, I'd advise starting to work on these as soon as possible. At least start the discussion in your group. If you're having problems hearing from people, whatever, let me know. I can try and reach out. But we do have this group assignment this week. which is about the case. I'm going to scroll back up here. It's about this case for the nurse in Tennessee. It was a woman that worked at Vanderbilt University and had a fatal med error. So interesting case there. So you have your group assignment there. For those of you that haven't been in class with me in the past, I think everyone has, but anytime we have a group assignment, there's always going to be this self-and-peer assessment. Everyone needs to do one of these individually and upload it here, just to, and again, as I've said in the past, they are used for grading, so be sure that you're being open and honest in your information there. Then we have the quiz and the flip grid. So, or not the flip grid, the ed puzzle. So that's it. Any questions, problems, etc., please let me know. Otherwise, I look forward to seeing everyone in the classroom. Thanks.